mental upgrade. No one tells you about. What if I told you that your brain has a built-in upgrade system, and you've been ignoring the installation prompts your entire life? Your neural architecture isn't fixed. Every thought, behavior, and experience physically reshapes your brain's structure. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, and it operates continuously from birth until death. But here's the part nobody mentions. Your brain upgrades randomly unless you direct the process intentionally. This isn't positive thinking nonsense. This is hard science. Researchers at University College London, MIT, and the Karolinska Institute have mapped the exact conditions that trigger accelerated neural reorganization. They've identified specific environmental factors, mental practices, and behavioral patterns that force your brain to build new connections, prune inefficient pathways, and optimize its processing architecture. Ancient contemplative traditions, Tibetan Buddhism, Stoic philosophy, Taoist meditation, developed systematic practices that unknowingly exploited these neuroplastic mechanisms. They spoke of mind training, mental discipline, and consciousness transformation. Modern neuroscience reveals they were performing targeted brain upgrades using pre-scientific methods. Most people experience random neural drift. Their brains adapt to whatever environments and habits they fall into. High performers engineer deliberate neural evolution. They install specific cognitive upgrades that compound over time. I'm about to expose 10 neuroplastic protocols that force cognitive enhancement. Each one targets a different brain system, creating structural changes that persist long after you stop the practice. Master these, and you're not just thinking better. You're building a better thinking machine. Your brain is waiting for instructions. Time to give it the upgrade it needs. Part 1. The cognitive load, cycling system. Your brain grows when it's challenged, not when it's comfortable. Most people know this. What they don't know is that constant challenge leads to burnout, not growth. Neuroscientist Arnie May discovered something remarkable. The brain builds new neural structures during recovery periods following intense cognitive challenge. Growth happens in the rest phase, not during the struggle itself. This is technique number 1 out of 10, the cognitive load cycling system. Structure your week with alternating high challenge and low challenge days. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tackle your most cognitively demanding work for 90-minute blocks with full concentration. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Engage only in familiar, easy tasks that require minimal mental effort. Sunday, complete cognitive rest. No problem solving, no complex decisions, no learning. Follow this exact cycle for 12 consecutive weeks. Your brain synthesizes new proteins and strengthens synaptic connections during low-load periods following high-load demands. Without recovery, your neural tissue can't complete the construction process. You're creating the conditions for actual structural brain changes. Athletes understand that muscles grow during rest, not during lifting. Your brain operates identically. Challenge tears down, recovery builds up. Start cycling. Cognitive load systematically and watch mental capacity expand through strategic recovery rather than relentless grinding. Part 2. The Novelty Exposure Protocol. Your brain runs on efficiency. It creates shortcuts for everything you do repeatedly. These shortcuts, called myelination, make you faster but less adaptable. Neurologist Alvaro Pascual Leone proved that learning novel skills triggers widespread neural reorganization, while practicing existing skills only refines localized circuits. Novelty forces your brain into growth mode. Familiarity triggers maintenance mode. This is technique number 2 out of 10, the Novelty Exposure Protocol. Every 28 days, begin learning something completely outside your expertise for exactly 20 minutes daily. Month 1, a new language. Month 2, a musical instrument. Month 3, a physical skill like juggling. Month 4, a craft like drawing. Rotate through 4 distinct skill categories, never repeating the same category for 6 months minimum. Novel learning activates brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, essentially fertilizer for your neurons. BDNF triggers the growth of new synapses and strengthens existing ones across multiple brain regions. Continuous novelty maintains your brain in perpetual upgrade mode. People who learn multiple instruments show enhanced cognitive flexibility across all domains, not just music. The brain upgrade transfers. Start rotating through novel skill domains and watch general cognitive abilities improve as your brain builds adaptability. Infrastructure. Part metacognitive monitoring ritual. You think about problems. You rarely think about how you think about problems. This distinction determines whether you're using your brain or upgrading it. Research by cognitive psychologist John Flavel demonstrates that metacognition, thinking about thinking, activates prefrontal networks that regulate and optimize cognitive processes. You're essentially giving your brain administrative access to its own operations. This is technique number 3 out of 10, the metacognitive monitoring ritual. After completing any significant mental work, spend exactly 3 minutes writing answers to these 3 questions. What thinking strategies did I use? Which strategies worked best? What would I do differently next time? Use a dedicated notebook. Review your entries every Sunday evening, looking for patterns across 7 days. Continue this practice for 16 consecutive weeks. Your prefrontal cortex develops stronger executive control through explicit monitoring of cognitive processes. You're training your brain to observe and optimize itself, building self-improving neural algorithms rather than fixed processing. Patterns out expert problem solvers spend significant time analyzing their thinking strategies. Not just solving problems, they're upgrading their mental operating system. Start monitoring your cognitive strategies and watch problem-solving efficiency improve through accumulated self-optimization. Insights. Part 4. The deliberate confusion technique. Your brain hates confusion. It experiences cognitive dissonance as psychological pain, so you avoid confusing situations, which is exactly why your brain stays stagnant. Neuroscientist Carl Friston's free energy principle explains that your brain constantly works to minimize prediction errors. Confusion signals prediction failure. Your current mental models are inadequate. This is precisely when neural restructuring occurs. This is technique number 4 out of 10, the deliberate confusion technique. Once weekly, deliberately study something you find genuinely confusing for exactly 45 minutes. Don't seek to master it, just expose yourself to the confusion. Read advanced mathematics if you're not a mathematician. Study quantum physics if you're not a physicist. Explore philosophy if you think concretely. Sit with the discomfort of not understanding. Do this every week for 6 months minimum. Confusion triggers neuroplastic responses as your brain attempts to build new conceptual frameworks. The struggle itself, not the resolution, forces neural reorganization. You're creating controlled cognitive crisis that demands architectural upgrades. Researchers find that productive struggle, not easy success, correlates with the development of robust understanding and transferable skills. Start deliberately, confusing yourself weekly, and watch your tolerance for complexity increase along with your ability to integrate difficult concepts. Part 5. The interleaved practice method. You practice skills in isolation. Focused practice feels productive. It's also the slowest way to build durable expertise. Cognitive scientist Robert Bjork's research on desirable difficulties proves that interleaving, mixing, different skills or concepts in single practice sessions produces better long-term retention and transfer than blocked practice, despite feeling less effective. This is technique number 5 out of 10, the interleaved practice method. Identify 3 related skills or knowledge areas you're developing. Instead of practicing each for extended blocks, rotate every 15 minutes. 15-minute skill A, 15-minute skill B, 15-minute skill C, then repeat. Complete 3 full rotations, 135 minutes total, 3 times per week. Continue this for 10 consecutive weeks. Interleaving forces your brain to continuously retrieve and distinguish between different skills, strengthening discriminative capabilities and building flexible knowledge structures. Blocked practice creates brittle, context-dependent learning. Interleaved practice builds robust, transferable expertise. Musicians who interleave different pieces learn faster and perform better under pressure than those who practice pieces in isolation. Start interleaving your practice sessions and watch skill acquisition accelerate despite the initial feeling of decreased progress. Part 6. The social cognitive challenge. You think alone or discuss with people similar to you. This creates an echo chamber that reinforces existing neural pathways without building new ones. Neuroscientist Rebecca Sachs's work on theory of mind networks shows that understanding perspectives radically different from your own activates and strengthens social cognition circuits in ways that agreement and similarity cannot. This is technique number 6 out of 10, the social cognitive challenge. Every 2 weeks, have a 60-minute conversation with someone who holds perspectives fundamentally different from yours on topics you care about. The goal isn't to convince or be convinced. It's to genuinely understand their reasoning. Ask clarifying questions. Restate their position until they confirm you understand. Document what you learned about their thinking process within 24 hours. Engaging with radically different viewpoints forces your brain to build more sophisticated models of human reasoning and motivation. You're expanding your theory of mind networks, which enhances strategic thinking, empathy, and perspective-taking across all domains. Diplomats, negotiators, and intelligence analysts deliberately study opposing worldviews not for agreement but for enhanced cognitive sophistication. Start engaging different perspectives systematically and watch your ability to understand complex human systems improve dramatically. Part 7. The memory reconsolidation exercise. You think memories are stable recordings. They're not. Every time you recall a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable, and you can rewrite it. Neuroscientist Karim Nader's groundbreaking research proves that recalled memories enter a reconsolidation window lasting approximately 6 hours. During this window, memories are vulnerable to modification before restabilizing. This is technique number 7 out of 10, the memory reconsolidation exercise. Identify one limiting belief rooted in a specific past experience. Once monthly, deliberately recall this memory in vivid detail while simultaneously engaging in intense positive physical activity, dancing to uplifting music, vigorous hiking in beautiful nature, playing with children or pets. Maintain the dual focus, memory recall plus positive experience, for at least 30 minutes. Your brain binds emotional valence to memories during reconsolidation. By recalling limiting memories while flooded with positive neurochemistry from joyful activities, you're chemically altering the emotional associations. The factual memory remains, but its psychological weight transforms. This is cutting edge. Trauma therapy, EMDR, and similar approaches exploit reconsolidation windows to reduce emotional charge on painful memories. Start pairing memory recall with positive experiences and watch old limitations lose their emotional grip through neurochemical reprocessing. Part 8. The attention span expansion. Your attention span has shortened. You know this. What you don't know is that attention is a trainable neural capacity, not a fixed trait. Neuroscientist Amishi Jha's research demonstrates that focused attention practice creates measurable changes in attention networks within 8 weeks. Your brain builds literally stronger attentional control circuits through systematic training. This is technique number 8 out of 10. The attention span expansion. Begin with 5 minutes of single-pointed focus on one object, a candle flame, your breath, or a specific sound. When your mind wanders, gently return focus to the object. Count each time you catch your mind wandering. Practice daily. Increase duration by 1 minute every 7 days until you reach 30 minutes. Track your daily wander count. It should decrease over time. Focused attention practice strengthens your anterior cingulate cortex and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive control centers. You're building the neural infrastructure for sustained concentration through progressive overload, exactly like muscle training, meditation. Practitioners show measurably thicker cortex in attention-related regions. The structural brain changes are visible on MRI scans. Start training focused attention systematically and watch your capacity for deep work expand as your attention control circuits physically strengthen. Part 9. The temporal perspective shifting. You live predominantly in one temporal perspective, usually either past-focused, present-focused, or future-focused. This temporal bias limits your cognitive flexibility. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo's research on time perspective shows that psychological health and success correlate with the ability to fluidly shift between past, present, and future orientations depending on context. This is technique number 9 out of 10. The temporal perspective. Shifting. Practice deliberate temporal shifting for 10 minutes daily using this structure. 3 minutes reviewing past lessons and experiences relevant to today. 3 minutes attending fully to present sensory experience and current tasks. 3 minutes vividly imagining specific future scenarios and planning. Rotate through this sequence twice. Practice this for 90 consecutive days. Your brain's default mode network processes past, present, and future through distinct but overlapping circuits. Regular shifting between temporal orientations builds flexibility in these networks, reducing rigid fixation on any single time frame. You're training temporal agility. Successful entrepreneurs balance past learning, present execution, and future vision more fluidly than those who fixate on any single temporal frame. Start practicing temporal shifting daily and watch your ability to extract wisdom from the past, engage the present, and plan the future improve simultaneously. Part 10. The bilateral brain integration. Your brain has two hemispheres with specialized functions. Most people over-rely on their dominant hemisphere, leaving massive neural capacity dormant. Neuroscientist Jerry Levy's research on hemispheric integration shows that activities engaging both hemispheres simultaneously create stronger, more flexible cognitive capabilities than unilateral processing. This is technique number 10 out of 10. The bilateral brain integration. Spend 15 minutes daily on cross-lateral activities that force bilateral coordination, juggling, playing piano with both hands, drawing simultaneously with both hands, or cross-crawl exercises where opposite limbs move together. Choose one bilateral activity and practice it consistently for 84 consecutive days without switching. Activities. Cross-lateral movement strengthens your corpus callosum, the massive fiber bundle connecting your hemispheres. Enhanced interhemispheric communication allows for more sophisticated integration of analytical and intuitive processing. You're literally building the physical connections between your brain's two processing centers. Musicians, particularly pianists, show enhanced corpus callosum development. Their bilateral coordination demands create measurable structural brain changes. Start practicing bilateral activities daily and watch your ability to integrate logical and creative thinking improve through enhanced hemispheric communication. Closing. These 10 protocols aren't temporary performance hacks. They're permanent neural architecture upgrades that compound over time. You're not just changing what you think. You're changing how you think by physically restructuring your brain's hardware. The cognitive load cycling system builds growth through strategic recovery. Novelty exposure protocol maintains perpetual learning mode. Metacognitive monitoring ritual creates self-optimizing algorithms. Deliberate confusion technique forces architectural adaptation. Interleaved practice method builds flexible expertise. Social cognitive challenge expands perspective-taking capacity. Memory reconsolidation exercise rewrites limiting narratives. Attention span expansion strengthens control networks. Temporal perspective shifting develops timeline agility. Bilateral brain integration enhances hemispheric communication. Ancient wisdom traditions intuited these principles through millennia of experimentation. Monks practiced attention training. Philosophers engaged opposing viewpoints. Warriors learned diverse skills. Mystics explored altered states. They were all performing neuroplastic interventions without understanding the biology. Modern neuroscience has simply revealed the mechanisms they were targeting. Your brain isn't fixed by genetics or age. It's constantly remodeling based on how you use it. The question isn't whether your brain will change. It will. The question is whether it changes randomly or by design. Your transformation doesn't start tomorrow or next week. It starts the moment you implement your first cognitive load cycle. It starts when you begin your first novel skill rotation. It starts when you write your first metacognitive analysis. The upgraded version of you, sharper, more adaptable, mentally resilient, cognitively flexible, isn't a distant possibility. That person emerges naturally when you give your brain the systematic challenges it needs to evolve. Your future self is waiting for the upgrade installation to begin.